what came out of their own lives was my parents both experienced loss at a very early age. My mom was the oldest of my grandparents' three children, and she was only 3 years old when her dad died. And so they never really knew their dad. What that meant when those two people came together was that in our household, there was a zest for life,
Yeah.
an understanding that life every day was a gift. And my dad in particular would have a very visceral reaction with people who would deny their age. You know how people say, I'm 29 for the last 5 years? Just could not say that around him. But he gave us, particularly him, a very clear understanding that every day is a gift. And at the older you get, the more is the gift, and so
Mm.
I will credit them with that.
Greetings, greetings, and welcome to When the Moment Chooses You with your coach Charlene. And I am so excited today that I am back. I am back in the house and I have a beautiful guest with me. She actually has been on When the Moment Chooses You before. Dale, welcome back. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you so much for having me. And I am so honored that you actually chose me to be your comeback person.
Yes,
Thank
you
you
are the
so much.
comeback queen. And so, Dale, for those that don't know you, I would love for you to share a little bit about who you are first before we jump into what we're going to talk about today.
All right. So maybe I start here and work backwards. I am
Okay.
a retired nurse. I'm a retired nurse. I've been very, very fortunate. I've had a 50-year career in nursing and midwifery. Been a nurse and a midwife. I have also had the good fortune to work in different countries. I was born in the Caribbean in Montserrat, beautiful small island in Montserrat. Grew up there, became a nurse in the United Kingdom, so worked both in the United Kingdom and in Montserrat, and then eventually migrated here to the United States. And now that I am retired, I was able to, thanks to COVID, because that's what allowed me the platform to do something that I've been wanting to do for a long time. And that was to speak to nurses all over the world. Because that was one of the things that I learned from working in different countries and different specialties in different areas, is that you're not seen the same way depending on where you are.
Yeah.
Not by your colleagues, not by the people you serve, not by the people who employ you. Your scope of practice may be different. And so I wanted nurses to be able to share those kinds of things, because there are many things that, as we say these days, unite us, and not as many as that divide us. So that was one of the reasons I wanted to speak to nurses. And when COVID came along and Zoom blew up, and I thought, oh, I can absolutely do it.
Yes.
So I started this YouTube channel called Nurses Talking, and this I started this at 68, not knowing how to do any of it.
Hey, you didn't look like you didn't know.
I didn't know how to. And so I really have been truly blessed that this channel has allowed me the opportunity to really speak to nurses from all over the world. And so as of now, I have greater than 400 videos out there of nurses that I've spoken to. So I've been truly
Wow.
blessed that way.
Yeah, that's absolutely amazing. And I think that's how I connected with you as well.
Hmm.
I have a question for you because that's really interesting, just your trajectory by itself. So at 68, I mean, COVID was around, right?
Yeah.
And so you were like, okay, I'm going to start this.
Yeah.
Was there any like fear or hesitancy? Like what was going on emotionally? Because there's people out there that would love to birth a dream that they have in their heart and they just don't have the courage and the stick to itiveness to do it. So let's help some people out today.
Well, before I even go to that, I have to tell you, you just brought my grandmother straight into my vision, because you just said something she always said. She's used the word stick to itiveness.
Yes.
But to answer your question, yes, it was kind of scary. Because as I said, I really didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know if anybody would actually want to talk to me,
Yeah.
right? And what was I going to say to them? How was I going to approach this? How was I going to get them to buy into my idea? How was I going to approach them? How was I going to formulate questions for them? And things like that. And first of all, I had, well, I will right here before I forget and go anywhere. There was the first person who actually consented to be on my channel. His name is Dr. William Irish O'Brien. And I asked him just because I knew him. He's also from Montserrat, but also I knew that he had stuff to share. I knew him as someone who would be outgoing, and if he saw the idea looked like something he would like to do, he would do it, and so he did. But I have to tell you, Charlene, that I had no idea. I had no idea how to start the YouTube channel. I had no idea. I didn't know how to edit a video or what a
Yes.
thumbnail was or all
So
kinds
you
of
learned,
things.
or you had on the job training.
Thank goodness for YouTube and Google.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, that's funny because my story was that way as well. So, I get this grand idea. Really, it spun out of 2020.
Yeah,
And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this because I was looking for something, Dale, that was more than what I was doing because I was
yeah.
burnt out at the time. I was trying to figure out like what else can I do to help me to be sustained? And so
Hmm.
that's where I found my famous quote, you don't die when your heart stops beating, you die when your heartbeats have no meaning. And so so I got a chance to be, they wanted me to be like the Oprah at
Hmm.
work. And so I interviewed Shola Richards at work.
Hmm.
And I was like, wow, this is cool. And then I messaged him on the side. I was like, hey, you got like 5 minutes? I just wanted to talk because I love what you're doing. I love to be doing stuff like that. So I
Yeah.
got an opportunity to actually talk to him. And he was like, what are you waiting for? What is wrong with you? You're gonna see. He said, Charlene, you're gonna regret that you didn't just do
Yeah.
it. Watch. He said, you're gonna have to tell me and remind me that you regretted it. But honestly, he gave me such a push
Hmm.
that at that moment I said, okay, I'm gonna start my podcast. Will you be my first guest? And he said yes, and I almost fell out of the chair because I was like, there is no way. Like in my mind, I already
Yeah.
had counted myself out. And so I think we do that so many times. And so it's really great that you shared that story because all you had to do is ask. And he said
Yes,
yes.
yes, yes. I know, I know,
Yes.
I know. And the thing is, Charlene, that someone says yes, and then you think, okay, so this one, but is anybody else going to say yes?
Yep. It keeps going and going and going. Like who wants it's like this constant battle of the mind that I
Yeah.
call it the inner critic. It's just
Yes.
constantly trying to tell you that, oh, they're not gonna say yes. And everybody that I asked said yes. So
Yes.
I totally get what you're saying. And that's the humanity in us to know how to use that as leverage and not to
Uh-huh.
quit, but to keep pressing through. So I love what
Indeed.
you said there. So now we're going to fast forward here a little bit. And you're going to have to tell me now. Let me see. What is the title of your book? First of all,
The,
Can
the
I Still Wear Stilettos?
Can I Still Wear Stilettos is the subtitle. The book is actually titled Aging Without Limits, and the subtitle,
Yes.
yes, is Can I Still Wear Stilettos?
Oh my gosh. So this is what like drew me in. I was off social media for a while and I came back and I saw that Dale had this book out. I was like, oh my God, I love that. I love that title. It's so powerful and it speaks so much. So that's why I really wanted to bring you on the show. So you can tell us a
Yes.
little bit about it because I'm sure plenty of us would love to buy it and to really dig into the deeper concepts in there. So first of all, what inspired you to write this particular book?
Okay, so again, I go back to my childhood, and I go back to Montserrat because I think that's probably where the seed was sown, whether I recognized it or not then. But I was fortunate enough to grow up in an atmosphere and in a family where um older people were always part of the interaction of the family. My
Yes.
my great grandmother lived till 94, and I was 11 when she died. And although we didn't live with her, we were close enough that, we spent a lot of time around her. And she was never somebody who shrunk from anything. She was by in stature, she was big. She was a big woman, tall and stout. And she was someone who actively participated all the time. In whatever was happening, she was not going to be left out.
Yeah.
And then I married someone whose mother lived to be 109. My
Oh,
mother-in-law
wow.
lived to be 109 and was very, again, another very active person, very particularly mentally sharp. And so, those two women modeled for me something very profound. And then
Mm,
on the other hand, I'm a nurse, and so I come into contact with people who um give up long before they need to. And I live in a society, and this is not just this society, this has become society in general that puts limits on people, and we buy into those limits.
yeah.
You're too old to dress a certain way, you're too old to do a certain thing, you're too old to start over. Even, even something like ageism in the workplace. No one wants to lose a job at 49 because it's just going to be too hard to get another one at 50 because, people see you as old, and um they neglect to see what you bring to the space. They neglect to see your experience. They neglect to see your critical thinking. They neglect to see your knowledge and all of that. And we shrink. Even in the way people dress, sometimes I look and people feel the need to dress a certain way. We dress in clothes that hide our bodies, or
Mhm.
um we sit in the back, or we do stuff that shrink us, and I don't believe that we ought to shrink. I believe that one of the things I believe about aging is that it brings possibility. I did not live this long to not bring something to the table.
Yes,
And so
that's right.
those are the things that inspired my book. Plus, there are so many things that I believe, honestly, about aging. It's an evolution, it's not a decline.
Yeah, absolutely. I love how you said that. So let me ask you a question. How has your voice evolved over the years? Like, how old are you right now?
Well, okay, so today is the 22nd. Yes?
Yes.
So in 4 days' time, I will be 74. In 4 days'
Wow,
time, I
you
will be
look
74.
amazing.
And looking
Yes.
forward to it.
That's wonderful. You know what? I'm really glad that you said that. I know so many women that will not share their age because I don't know what the thing is or the myth is about it, but they don't. Like I just turned 60 and I'm like super happy that I turned 60. And so, but it's just weird because, so what do you think that is? Like
I,
you
I
said your age with confidence and brilliancy and boldness.
Okay, and I will credit my parents for that. I will. And
Okay.
I don't know if they would think of it as a credit if they were here. But what came out of their own lives was my parents both experienced loss at a very early age. My mom was the oldest of my grandparents' three children, and she was only 3 years old when her dad died. So my
Mm.
grandmother had a 3-year-old, a 1-year-old, and was pregnant with their last child.
Oh,
And so they never really knew their dad. My dad also was he was the youngest of those grandparents' children, and was orphaned by the time he was 13. What
mm,
that meant when those two people came together was that in our household, there was a zest for life,
mm,
an understanding that life every day was a gift. And my dad in particular would have a very visceral reaction with people who would deny their age. You know how people say, I'm 29 for the last 5 years. You could
yeah.
not say that around him. You just could not say that around him. But he gave us, particularly him, a very clear understanding that every day is a gift, and that the older you get, the more is the gift, And so
Mm.
I will credit them for with that. I've never once been had the courage, I should say. I've never once denied my age. I've loved it.
Oh, that's so wonderful. So, to anybody out there struggling with saying their age, is there anything that you can speak into them that will help them?
Well, the only thing I would say to them, really, if you just stop and think for 1 minute, if you realize that this is a gift, and that you're here because you still have purpose, how can you be ashamed of that? How can you
Yes.
deny that? And that comes into, for me, for gratitude, because gratitude is not something you say. Gratitude is
Mm.
something you live. And
Yes.
if you're truly grateful for your life, then you can't really deny it.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. I was wondering when you talked about purpose a little bit. How do we age with purpose instead of fear?
Instead of fear, instead of
Instead of
fear.
fear, because so many people are like, "Oh my gosh, I'm getting older."
Yes,
Just that whole
I
mindset.
know, I know, I know. And just to digress a little bit, I had a conversation with someone the other day who told me that her son, when he turned 30, had a party, but it was a funeral party for his 20s. The cake was shaped like a coffin, and all of this kind of thing. And I was like, oh, are you
Oh my
serious? Are you serious?
Oh, wow,
But
that's pretty deep.
I think maybe to answer your question, I think we need to see each day kind of as a springboard and an
Mm,
opportunity. And I felt that, I have to tell you, Charlene, in preparation for this, I had to go back and look at something that I wrote on my 69th birthday. Because that is one birthday that I remember very clearly, that felt like it was a springboard into my 70s.
mm.
And if I may, I would like to just read you quickly, just a little
Oh,
bit from it.
absolutely.
That
Please
I
do.
said I wrote this at the beginning of July. And so I said, I celebrated my 69th birthday at the end of June. And it was a day I had been anticipating since January. It marked the beginning of the last year of what would be for me 7 decades on the planet.
Mm.
It says, I am excited about this new year. It feels like a springboard to something special. I have no interest at all in the quantity of life I have left, but I am determined to constantly upgrade the quality of it. And for me,
Oh,
that was a big thing.
that
That
is
was a
so
piece of what I
rich.
wrote. But if you think of yesterday, um, I can bring something good from yesterday, something beneficial from yesterday into today. If you look at it in terms of quality and what you can do to upgrade your quality, it has to be something that you look forward to, something that is gratifying to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my God, that was so rich. I mean, that is that in the book?
Actually, no, that's not in the book. I had to go back and look for
Well,
that because
that's like some pure wisdom right there. That is so amazing. So thank you for sharing that. That made me think about something because, now just hitting six, now that I'm 60, for a long time before I turned 55. And this is because of like what has happened in my
Mhm.
family. Like I lost my dad he was 55, and my big sister passed at 55, and
Yeah.
my baby sister passed at 44, and my mom passed at 61. And so 55 was a very challenging year because in my mind, it was like the enemy was
Yes.
telling me that I was next. And
Hmm.
so I really, really gripped I had to like really reach in there and that courage of my conviction and really start taking care of myself better. So I really started my journey then about how I was eating and all the exercise and stuff like that. And so when I got to 60, it was such a beautiful moment. Like every day is a gift, just
Yes.
like you said. And so
Yes.
I see that as a gift. And hey, I made it to 60. Praise the Lord. I mean, I'm just like, I'm excited about being 60. And I know I'm going to continue just being grateful, just being here whenever, however many. I love the last part of what you said, though. You said
Hmm.
something about you're not counting.
Oh, I don't. That's true. I really have no interest in the number of days I have left.
Ah,
I
that's so
just,
rich.
I'm determined to have good quality, whatever those days are, whatever that number is.
Oh, I love that. Well, wow, that's so powerful. So let me ask you a question here. I got a question for you.
Hmm.
So, what would you say to a woman who kind of feels invisible as she's growing older?
You know. What I would actually tell her is something that I actually do,
Mm,
really. Take a look at yourself in the mirror and look at what you see. And how do you interpret what do you see? Start telling yourself things about what you see. Think about what you see and then have a perspective about what you see. And that actually is, I think, my favorite chapter in the book. It's chapter
okay.
4 in my book, and it's called Mirror Mirror, and it talks about the narrator inside of us.
Yeah.
And I came to a point in life where I looked at myself and thought, oh, things have changed. You don't look the way you used to look. And then at some point I had to say, but wait, what does that mean? And it means to me, example, if I see, if I see a wrinkle, is it because I'm older? Or is it because I've laughed all of these years? What does it say? The mirror can only show the wrinkle, but what does the wrinkle mean? Is it
Yeah.
because I've used those facial muscles? Yes. And what did I use them to do most of the time? It's laugh. So
Oh my
you
gosh,
get
that's
laughter going
awesome.
along. Right? And we talk about, and that is not to say you shouldn't do anything about your wrinkles, by all means. If you want to,
Right.
by all means. I looked at my gray hair. There's another chapter in the book. I think it's chapter 2 that says gray hair don't care, right? I started going gray very early in life. I just thought that that was, and maybe it's just hereditary. My dad was gray early, started going gray early. But I go through this thing and I talk about, coloring my hair and getting to the point in my early 40s where I thought, I'm done with this. I'm so done with this.
Yeah.
I was just tired of doing it. And I cut my hair. At the time, I had quite a bit of hair. I cut it. And the response from people was something that was like, oh, because people said, I wish I could do that. Oh, you're so brave.
Yeah.
Oh, those kinds of things. And I recognized that behind the admiration, there was a little fear.
Yes.
There was a little fear. And I may have had that same fear myself. But
Yeah.
you have to get over it. And so when to answer your question, really, I think one of the big things that we need to do is talk to ourselves consciously. Forget about that, subconscious person back there.
Yes.
Consciously talk to myself. I consciously talk to my body. I talk to the
Yes.
parts of my body, particularly that I cannot see. Those parts of my body that are working, that have been working for the last 70 something years, almost 74. My heart, my lungs, my kidneys, liver, all those, feet of intestines and all of those things. I talk to them and I say, well, thank you for doing all this without me even telling you what to do. You just knew what
Yes.
to do. You just knew what to do. And when I
That's
don't
awesome.
feel so well, when I feel like something is off, I actually address them and I say, well, what's going on? What do I need to do? What do I need to do? And if I sit back and think about it, I get the answer. I
Yeah,
get
that's
the answer.
wonderful.
We need to talk to ourselves.
Yeah, I love that. I love the mirror talk. I really do. And just
Hmm.
talking to ourselves. I'd rather us talk to ourselves than allowing the
Yes,
inner
yes, because
critic to talk to you.
whether we like it or not, there's going to be a conversation going on.
That's right.
So we might as well take charge of it.
Yes, absolutely. Well, is there anything else that you want to share with us about the book? And then I just have one last question for you, but I'll give you some time if you want to share anything else.
Okay, well, I'll show you the cover of the book.
Okay.
This is the cover of the
Ooh,
book.
look at those stilettos.
And the stilettos, yes. And the stilettos, I will tell you quickly why the stilettos. First of all, there was going to be a metaphorical shoe thing running through the book because I love shoes. But the question about can I still wear stilettos it came about quite unexpected. It was if like something hit me in the face because
Mm,
I'm at home one day. I'm passing through my living room. The TV's on. Family Feud is on. I think my one of my children was here watching Family Feud. It's just on in the background. And as I'm passing, I hear the question: at what age should a woman stop wearing stilettos? And
mm.
I go, never. And so I, I had to I had to stop and see what people answered. People answered questions like 40 and 50, and I'm like,
Oh
No
my
way, no
gosh.
way, no way. Because for me, those stilettos they're more than shoes. They represent power and, strength and all of that kind of thing. So, um, but to tell you something more about the book, really, I think although there are stilettos on the cover, it's not just for women.
Okay.
It is for all of us as we age and talk about things like, I address things like gray hair, as I mentioned. I address
Yes.
things like downsizing, but it's fixed as a conversation. The book is set up as a conversation. So it's a very
Okay.
small, short book. It's easy to read. And with throughout the book, you have the overarching theme of each chapter. But within each chapter, you have little vignettes, and you have the vignettes
Okay.
because I am not a person of lists. I'm not going to remember a list of things if you tell me. If you tell me the story, I will remember that. And so each of those
Yes.
vignettes is a story that relates to the overarching chapter of the book.
Okay.
There are areas, each chapter has a little thing about pause and reflect because I didn't
Okay.
want people to rush through it. Just
Yes.
pause for a minute and reflect about what it just said and what thought occurred to you as you read this. And then there's at the end of each chapter an opportunity to journal.
Oh, good.
So
That's awesome.
that's how my book is set up. And I really trust that my big thing is that I hope that as people finish the book, they leave with a different mindset, the mindset of possibility. Because as long as you're here, there is possibility. So what is it you want to do? Nothing is what I've learned all this time is that perfection really is a myth. It's something you're
Yeah.
always reaching for, but you're not going to get there. It's a myth.
Right.
You can always
Yes.
improve, because we can always improve. So if there's room for improvement, then we haven't gotten there yet. So don't wait for
Yes.
something to be perfect. You want to do it? Go ahead and do it. You may make a mistake. So what? So what?
Yeah, absolutely. And I like you kind of answered a little bit of what I was going to ask you. My last question was going to be, what legacy do you hope that this book will leave for future generations of women?
Yeah, yeah. And that's part of it. And understand that it's not about becoming someone new. It's about coming fully who you are. Fully who you are. So there are things that for me, um are daily practices. And I'm not saying that they have to be daily practices for everyone, but I would like people to really stop and have a daily practice about themselves, with themselves. And so for me right now, one of my daily practices is, well, first of all, continue I have to prioritize God, self, and family over everything else.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know, you talked about you stepped away from social media a while, and I had done that too. And in coming back, I realized that I can't come back to this full on social media thing, and so I've reduced social media interaction,
yes.
and put my phone across the room at night. So, and unless you are in my emergency contacts, you can't reach me after a certain and pretty early on in the night too. You
Yeah, that's
know,
great.
um, things like even books which I love to read. But I had fallen into the habit of listening to audiobooks. Now there's nothing wrong with audiobooks, but they don't give me the same satisfaction as a physical book. And
Yeah.
so I recognize that, and I've decided, okay, so yeah, I'll still listen to audiobooks, but my physical books, I will um I will have them. And that was a process because as I spoke of in the book, I downsized. My husband and I downsized this, which means that I don't have space for all the books that I used to have.
Right.
And so it means constantly divesting myself of books so that I can make room for more. And that's part of life too. We have to sometimes let go of things so that we can make room for more.
That's so good. So good. Well, it has been such a delight and a treat to have you on the show, especially to help me kick this one off. And so I would love for you to tell people how they can get the book and how they can get in touch with you. Are you doing any speaking engagements on this? Just give us some rundown
Oh,
what you're doing on this.
I am looking forward to doing speaking engagements. Actually, I just had one a week ago at our local library. But to answer your question, the book is on Amazon, currently on
Okay.
Amazon. And also I've uploaded it to I've published it on Ingram Spark. So if your
Okay.
library doesn't have it, they should be able to get it. If Barnes and Noble doesn't have it, they should be able to get it. So you can get it pretty much anywhere, and it's in two formats. It's in an ebook and paperback.
Okay.
Sorry, and paperback format. Um,
Okay. And
and
I'll
I
put the links in your description for sure. When I put the description, I'll put the link so they can directly go
absolutely,
to it.
absolutely, absolutely. Thank you very much for that. Um, And I just want to say to people, when you get the book, please, if you want to write, don't. Someone says, "Oh, you have all these journaling prompts," and I don't really want to write it. As please write in the book.
Yes. You want it to be
It's like
used.
use it, write in the book, write whatever you want. There's enough space. Please write in the book.
Yeah, well, that is great. I'm so, so, so blessed to know you and to just hear of your life and your legacy and all of the things that you've done. I mean, just a wealth of information. So I just really just honor you. You guys, she has a podcast. So tell them how to get in touch with that.
On. I'm also my podcast is called Nurses Talking. And it's where I speak to nurses. I speak to nurses all over the world, all over the world. If you would like to be a guest on Nurses Talking, um, just email me or find me on LinkedIn. And if you email me, my email is just that, nursestalking@gmail.com.
Okay.
And
And I'll
I'm on
put that there
LinkedIn. You
too.
can hook up with me on LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook. I am learning to use Instagram.
Yes. Hey, I feel like, now that I'm retired and I feel this sense of freedom within that the creator in me is just like flourishing. And that's why aging is beautiful. I mean, there's
Aging
nothing
is so
wrong with it.
beautiful. It is so beautiful. If I may, I'm going to give you one last thing because you know what?
Yes,
Here's the
please.
thing that I realize is that one of the things I talk about is how language changes. And we, as older people, very often I notice that we talk about younger generations as if they are, they're very, very smart and that we think they're so far ahead of us and all of that kind of thing. But I feel really we need to maintain generational connections. And so you've got
Yes.
to take the time to listen to the younger ones and to be interested in the younger ones. I would say a quick story. My grandson, who's 7 and who loves, he's a gamer. He loves game. He takes coding classes and he whatever. And he was telling me a couple of weeks ago about a game. And I said, also, is this a game that you developed? Because he speaks like the speed of light. And he took a deep breath and he sighed. And the sigh was, exasperation and patience and everything all in one. And he goes, Grandy, there is this company in Japan called Nintendo. And I said, what, but what was precious for me, though? Honestly, I couldn't let him see me laughing. But what was precious for me, though, was that he felt that he was able to talk to me about his gaming, things and his progress and things like that, and use words that I didn't understand. And when I didn't understand, he felt that he'd go, okay, let me step back and engage and explain and explain.
That's
And I think
great.
we have to keep that going.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, it has been such a treat to have you on here. So I'll
Thank
make
you.
sure that I put all of your information in the description. You guys please get her book, and then let her know and put a review on Amazon. That would be
Thank
really
you.
amazing because that helps us authors out. And Dale, you can come back anytime you want to. Please you're welcome at any time. Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Coach Charlene. It is so good to see you again. Thank you.
Yes, good to see you. You are loved and appreciated. Thank you. Thank you.